The meeting will please come to order. Good evening, everyone. My name is Trippy Congo, President of Wilmington City Council. On behalf of all of my colleagues, we just want to thank everyone who was with us this evening here in chambers, and also for everyone who was with us virtually. Today is Thursday, June the 18th, and we will begin with our opening prayer by Marielena Rivera.
Heavenly Father, we have assembled to handle the affairs of our city. As we do so, we ask for your guidance and understanding. We pray that our city reaches a place of peace and safety. Keep us out of harm's way and bless those who are in authority. Let respect be key in all our endeavors. Padre Celestial, nos hemos reunido para manejar los asuntos de nuestra ciudad. Al hacerlo, le pedimos su orientación y comprensión. Oramos para que nuestra ciudad alcance un lugar de paz y seguridad que nos mantenga fuera del peligro y bendecir a los que están en autoridad. Que el respeto sea clave en todos nuestros esfuerzos. Amén.
Amen. At this time, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Also, for anyone who is with us virtually, there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for anyone who would like to give public comment. And also for those of you who are in council chambers, if you would like to give public comment, there is still time to sign up. Please do so before 6:45. Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Owens?
Here.
Councilwoman Darby? Councilwoman Oliver?
Present.
Councilwoman Harlee?
Present.
Councilwoman Willauer? Councilwoman McCoy?
Here.
Councilman Johnson?
Here.
Councilman Fields? Councilwoman Bracey?
Here.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Present.
Councilman Hackett? Councilman Spadola? President Congo?
Here.
8 present and 5 absent.
All right, thank you. Council members Spadola, Field, and Willauer all asked to be excused. Thank you. At this time, we'll have the reading of the minutes from our previous meeting.
June 5th, 2025, City Council met in regular session with remote participation on the above date at 6:36 p.m. President Ernest M. Congo II presiding. The opening prayer was done by Marielena Rivera.
I move the minutes be accepted as written.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The minutes be accepted as written. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We will now have our committee reports.
June 2nd, 2025, President and members of City Council. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to who was referred ordinance number 25-021 entitled An Ordinance to Authorize and Approve an Agreement for Third-Party Claim Administrative Services between the City of Wilmington and PMA Management Corporation. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members of the Finance and Economic Development Committee. Those members present, Councilwoman Harlee, Councilwoman Bracey, Councilman Oliver, Councilman Spadola, President Congo. Absent with leave, Councilwoman Darby and Councilman Hackett.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The committee report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
June 2nd, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to who was referred ordinance number 25-023 entitled An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to supplement the city's organizational chart. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members of the Finance and Economic Development Committee. Those members present, Councilwoman Harlee, Councilwoman Bracey, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilman Spadola, President Congo. Absent with leave, Councilwoman Darby and Councilman Hackett.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The committee report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
June 2nd, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation, to who was referred substitute number 1 to ordinance number 25-022, entitled An Ordinance to Amend Chapters 3, 4, 5, 13, 34, 44, and 45 of the City Code to standardize the procedure for the application of payments of fees, civil fines, civil penalties, and taxes due and owing to the city. Have given this substitute ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members of the Finance and Economic Development Committee. Those members present, Councilwoman Harlee, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilman Spadola, President Congo. Absent with leave, Councilwoman Darby, Councilman Hackett.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to recognize Councilmember Hackett.
Noted. June 9th, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Public Safety Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation, to who was referred ordinance number 25-030, entitled An Ordinance to Authorize and Approve a Lease Agreement Regarding 400 North Walnut Street between the City of Wilmington and the Wilmington Housing Authority. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Those members of the Public Safety Committee. Those members present, Councilwoman McCoy, Councilman Spadola, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilwoman Oliver, President Congo. Absent with leave, Councilwoman Darby, Councilman Johnson.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
June 9th, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Public Safety Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation, to who was referred ordinance number 25-031, entitled An Ordinance to Authorize and Approve an Agreement between the City of Wilmington and Axon Enterprises, Inc. for body cameras, tasers, and related services. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members of the Public Safety Committee. Those members present, Councilwoman McCoy, Councilman Spadola, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilwoman Oliver, and President Congo. Absent with leave, Councilwoman Darby and Councilman Johnson.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
June 9th, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Public Safety Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation, to who was referred ordinance number 25-032, entitled An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 40 of the City Code regarding military leave. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members of the Public Safety Committee. Those members present, Councilwoman McCoy, Councilman Spadola, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilwoman Oliver, President Congo, and absent with leave, Councilwoman Darby and Councilman Johnson.
I'd like to make a correction. Councilman Johnson was present for that.
Okay.
Okay. And I would like for that committee report to be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
June 11th, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Education, Youth, and Family Services Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation, to who was referred ordinance number 25-1014, entitled An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to establish an Office of Educational Advocacy as a division in City Council. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members of the Education, Youth, and Family Services Committee. Those members present, present, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilwoman Harlee, Councilwoman McCoy, Councilman Owens, President Congo. Absent with leave, Councilman Hackett, and Councilwoman Oliver.
I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
June 16th, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, your Public Works and Economic Development, or Public Works and Transportation Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation, to who was referred ordinance number 25-029, entitled An Ordinance to Authorize and Approve the First Amendment to Contract 23002 WD Boiler Inspection and Maintenance Services between the City of Wilmington and AA Duckett, Inc. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, members of the Public Works and Transportation Committee. Those members present: Councilwoman Oliver, Councilman Johnson, Councilman Owens, President Congo. Absent with leave, Councilman Fields, and Councilwoman Willauer.
I move this committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
That's it.
This time we will have our city treasurer's report.
June 18th, 2025. Total investments, $507,516,400.83. Total cash on hand, $21,354,739.10. Grand total, $528,871,139.93. Submitted, City Treasurer Dwayne Sims.
Mr. President, I move that the treasury report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'll accept the motion to move to accept all non-legislative business.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to accept all non-legislative business. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We do have two recognitions this evening. Councilwoman Oliver.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to call up Jumpstart. Anyone here from Jumpstart, please come up front. Oh, he's a lot of y'all. Good? Okay. Oh, wow, you brought everybody. Okay. First, I'd like to state that I was a graduate of Jumpstart probably before y'all came along, so I wanted to just put that out there. Okay, this is sponsored Councilwoman Alethea Oliver and the entire City Council. Whereas it's the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and deserve recognition and acknowledgement. Councilwoman Alethea Oliver recognizes Jumpstart of Wilmington. Whereas the Jumpstart Wilmington was started by Sierra in October 2020 to promote growth and local developments through training and development to support neighborhood revitalization. The initial goal was to address barriers for the future developers that may experience in the process of accessing properties to develop. And whereas in 2020, Jumpstart Wilmington had enrolled over 200 participants with 177 graduates, the program was partnered with several Wilmington entities to create affordable housing, including the City of Wilmington Department of Real Estate and Housing, the Wilmington Neighborhood Conservative Land Bank, and Delaware Affordable Housing Group, DAHG. Together, they addressed the property sourcing challenges and have developed a pipeline of properties made exclusively available for rehabilitation. In 2023, the Wilmington City Council approved the disposition of 7 West Side Center properties to Jumpstart Wilmington graduates. And whereas, with a budget of $6.8 million in lending funds, the program has promoted over 30 graduates and have acquired properties. Over 28 units are still in the development stage, with 25 dedicated to affordable rentals and homeownerships opportunities for low and moderate income tenants and small commercial properties. One thing about Jumpstart, they do try to work with our local groups and organizations. They don't really work with a lot of people out of town, so that's one thing I like about them, opposed to some of the other organizations who deal with a lot of people out of town, opposed to dealing with our local residents. Now there be it resolved by the City Council of Wilmington that the city is pleased to recognize and commend Jumpstart Wilmington of its investment in affordable local-owned housing for the city of Wilmington. Job well done.
Good evening, Council President, members of City Council, and attendees. I would like to thank the Councilwoman Oliver for recognizing the Jumpstart Wilmington program this evening. I'm honored to stand before you today to express my heartfelt thanks on behalf of the Jumpstart Wilmington community. Your resolution recognizing the Jumpstart Wilmington program is not only a meaningful gesture, it is a powerful affirmation of the work being done to uplift and empower people through community-based development. Jumpstart Wilmington was created to give everyday people the tools, knowledge, and confidence to become developers in their own neighborhoods. It's about more than bricks and mortar. It's about equity, opportunity, and the belief that those closest to the challenges are also closest to the solutions. We have a Jumpstart philosophy, which is doing well by doing good, and includes tenets such as reducing blight, promoting social impact real estate development, improving the community, engaging the community by being a good neighbor, and gaining their support of development projects, and changing the face of development by increasing diversity and supporting women and people of color who want to enter the real estate development field. Your recognition sends a clear message that Wilmington values inclusive growth, supports grassroots leadership, and believes in the potential of its people. This resolution is a milestone for our program, and it strengthens our resolve to continue building a city that reflects the hopes and dreams of all of its residents. I would like to express appreciation for the unwavering support of my Sonera colleagues, many of whom who are here today: Chase, Dawn, Kareen, Sabrina, Jake, and Aziz. Our dedicated speakers and mentors, Aziz again, Matt Harris, and we also had Jeff Starkey, who had to leave. Our invaluable partners, and most importantly, our remarkable graduates. Some are here today. We have Ina, Nasser, Denara, Tracy, and Core. And Councilwoman Oliver, thank you very much. These individuals are actively shaping Wilmington's future by creating affordable rental housing, homeownership opportunities, and vital community assets. I would also like to extend heartfelt appreciation to the City of Wilmington's Department of Real Estate and Housing for their generous contribution of CDBG funding. This support has provided critical gap subsidies for affordable homeownership units developed by our Jumpstart Wilmington graduates, serving households earning at or below 80% of the area median income. Gratitude is also due to the Delaware Affordable Housing Group for their openness to collaborate with our Jumpstarters in the creation of affordable rental housing, and to the Wilmington Land Bank for their partnership in making vacant properties accessible to our graduates, especially in a competitive environment where emerging developers often face significant barriers. One of my favorite African proverbs is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. To each of you who supported this resolution, thank you. To all of our collaborators, we look forward to continuing this journey together. And I'm not sure if I mentioned my colleague, Dawn, so I want to definitely make sure that I acknowledge her. Thank you again.
Councilmember Bracy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say congratulations to you. Thank you to Deanna, Sanera, and the entire team for what you guys are doing to transform communities. Councilman Owens and I took a tour just, 2 weeks ago on the east side, and it's amazing to see the work. We were on a block where there were Habitat houses, there were houses from Woodlawn Trustees, and there were Jumpstart houses, and they were all working together for the betterment of the community. And it's impressive to see the work that you're doing, and to also acknowledge that you're not doing just pop-up work. It's exceptionally well done and quality affordable homes that you guys are building, and we appreciate all that you're doing. Thank you.
Councilwoman Cabrera, followed by Councilmember Owens.
Thank you. Well, of course, I echo the comments that Councilmember Bracy said. I would like to add that as a board member of the Land Bank, the relationship that the Land Bank has with Sinair definitely adds to the success of the program in making sure that the vacant properties in our city are repurposed and repurposed at an affordable rate for sale, for rental, however the investors would like to make that happen, the developers that are standing here before us. So definitely we appreciate, boast about the partnership. The work that you guys do is exceptional. We especially love the fact that you are churning quality housing. You're not cutting corners. It's quality housing, and that's really important that people know that you can come live in Wilmington and live in one of the Sinair homes. So thank you again to each and every one of you for your investment in our city.
I just wanted to say congratulations to all the graduates. Thank you to all the staff and mentors that pours into this program. When we talk about housing, and it's been a topic that we've talked about on council quite often recently, it's so important to make sure that we're focusing in on affordable housing, especially in the crisis that we're in right now. When you look at who's hurting here in the city of Wilmington, you all are the ones who are going to make an impact on their lives the most and give them a safe and habitable place to live. So again, thank you for going through this program. I wish you all the best of luck. And again, to the program staff, y'all are amazing. Keep up the work.
I would be remiss if we didn't give a shout out to Ray Fitzgerald at WHA for working with really initiating this Jumpstart program. I was there when he made a phone call, so this was one of his main ideas. Ray Fitzgerald from the Wilmington Housing Authority. Kudos to him. Okay, next we have Hall of Famers. Could y'all please come up? Dr. Williams and the Hall of Famers, could y'all please come up? And Mark Seals, who calls us every day. But it's all good. I love Mark. I didn't know Mr. Laws was a Hall of Famer. How you doing, Mr. Laws? Now, this is from Council Member Xanthi Oliver and the entire City Council. Whereas it's the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and are deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. Councilman Xanthi Oliver would like to acknowledge the 2025 inductees into the Delaware Afro-American Sports Hall of Fame. And whereas Delaware Afro-American Sports Hall of Fame, Inc., DAASHOF, was founded in 1996 under the leadership of Howard Tolliver, Nathan Doc Hill, the late Reverend Conrad Raleigh Jr., and the late Mr. Scott. And whereas in the sense of its reception, the group objectives has been to search and recognize outstanding Delaware high school, college, professional athletes, regardless of their race, creed, or gender. The purpose of the award is to recognize noteworthy individuals and their contribution to the state of Delaware to ensure they will forever be remembered. Whereas the members of the legendary group have gone on to become leaders, public and private sector, in the public or private sector, they have made memorable contributions in their sport for the next generation of youth in Wilmington and throughout the state. Now there be a resolve by the city of Wilmington that this legislative body would like to recognize the accomplishment of the Delaware Afro-American Sports Hall of Fame 2025 inductees. We celebrate the pride of their legacy that they have brought to the city and the state. Congratulations to all inductees.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, other members of the City Council, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to be able to introduce my fellow inductees. It's been an honor to be with them. And as Mr. Howard Laws reminded me today, everyone is always punctual except for me. I think you mentioned that. But more importantly, it is indeed an honor for me to be able to introduce to you the honorees and to have them be recognized at this time. We will start, first of all, with Mr. Clarence Bailey, who was inducted for football. Mr. Bailey. Next, we have Mr. Frederick Minus, who was inducted for trap shooting. We have next on our list, Miss Lillian Mapp, who was inducted for basketball. We have next on the list, Mr. William Stoney Briggs, inducted for baseball. Next on our list is Mr. Gene Lake, who was inducted for football and basketball. But definitely he was inducted for football, for sure. If anyone had a chance to watch him at Delaware State, he was the deal. Next on our list is Mr. Wayne Newsom, who was introduced for wrestling. Next on the list is my dear friend, Mr. Howard Laws, who was inducted for football, basketball, and track. And although this gentleman is not with us this evening, Mr. John Hollis, who was inducted for coaching. And lastly, I was fortunate enough to be inducted for basketball. Just a few comments about it. First and foremost, as was mentioned, everyone who's standing behind me, beside their their athletic excellence, they've all made tremendous contributions in society. And at the end of the day, that's more important than our athletics. But I can assure you, each and every one of us, we're extremely proud of our athletic endeavors. But one of the things that we can be looked upon is to continue to be role models for young people who follow behind us, because athletics plays an important part in the lives of young people, but we'll always have to remind them that there's life after athletics. And so the ladies and gentlemen behind me are clear examples of that's the case. And the other thing I'd like to share is that it's important that the organization, the African-American Hall of Fame, that it gets its kudos. I mean, the board of directors, Mr. Mark Seals, I mean, they all do a phenomenal job, and we greatly appreciate that, and they should get a round of applause from us, because it's a lot of work, and oh, by the way, they do it for free. But more important, it's important that every time that we have an opportunity to share and celebrate the history of our culture, it's important. I know it's no great secret that there are forces among us that are doing everything possible to rewrite history, to change it, and to to infer that people of color made no contributions. And sports are not immune from that. So it's important that a venue like this, for us to be able to share here, and we thank City Council again for your recognition, but it's also important, excuse me, that we continue to fight the fight to not allow any entity to rewrite history.
Yes.
It's disrespectful, and more importantly, we owe it to our future generations, for young people and people who follow behind us, to know the history, whether it's athletics, whether it's the arts, music, science, you name it. It's important that we do not allow that to happen. And I can assure you, knowing meeting the people behind me, I know that we're going to fight the fight. And I know members of City Council, I know that you are. And I'm going to do a little plug. And I know that the NAACP and other organizations are going to do it, because we cannot allow anyone to do that. And again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the recognition. Councilwoman Darby, thank you for your Oliver. Why did I say that? You can back me. Okay. You know, Oliver. Yeah, but thank you very much for being a key sponsor in this recognition. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen.
Councilmember Owens.
Yes, first off, congratulations to all the inducted new members of the Hall of Fame. Hopefully soon we'll hear rugby up there. Just saying, you know, I was a standout there. But no, congratulations for all the athletic achievements, and especially to Freeman. Thank you for being a mentor to me. And I did not get to see you play basketball, but if you were half as good as you are at being a mentor to the community, an educator, an administrator, and an advocate for civil rights, then you were one heck of a player. And y'all are all in the same class. Y'all must be some amazing people. So very nice to meet you all. And again, congratulations.
Councilwoman Cabrera.
Thank you for allowing our organization to be recognized tonight. I'm the president, Mark Seals. I would like one of our inductees for the class of 2025 to say a few words, the great Monique Foote.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for this honor. I truly appreciate it. It's been very powerful to me as a kid to have people who look like me and sound like me achieve great things. That's how I knew it was possible, and they opened doors that others said they wouldn't. I just want to thank my home community, Southbridge. I also want to thank my mom, my grandma, my aunts, and my uncles, who really laid down a great foundation for me, not just to be successful, but to accept setbacks. And a setback is just a setup for a comeback. And that's been a constant theme in probably all of our lives here as inductees. You don't get to be successful without some challenges. And I also want to thank God and my Lord and Savior for always strengthening me, even in the times that I didn't understand. So thank you very much.
Councilmember Cabrera. 1 second,
Yes,
please.
I just wanted to, knowing Mark Sills for a good bit of my life, just want to thank you for your leadership, your persistence, keeping this going. It is so important. As was stated very eloquently, as a call to advocacy to continue the good fight. We must preserve our history. We must tell it and retell it so that the next generation is aware, and the struggles that we've had to go through to preserve this history and to be where we are today as people of color. So thank you so much for keeping this organization going and the work that each of you do, and congratulations to all of you.
Councilmember Hackett.
I'll be quick. I just want to say congratulations. And Mark Sills, thank you for everything. He's known me since I've been a kid, you know, so he's seen me play basketball, and I've seen him conduct so many different leagues to help the kids in our community be able to have outlets and be able to come into Brown Boys and Girls Club instead of doing all the things that they possibly could do. So maybe even more a safe haven to the community. So thank you so much for that.
Also, I'd like to congratulate all of the inductees, and like everyone has already said, Mark, thank you for everything that you do. Councilwoman Oliver jokingly said that you call every day, but that's your passion that's how much you love our community. So just thank you for all you do. Monique, what high school did you go to?
Sanford School.
Okay,
I thought
just
you knew.
wanted to get that on record. Just wanted to get that on record. That's right. That's right. All right. Thank you, everybody. In the way of other recognitions coming from Council Member Harlee, she would like to recognize Bishop Boston Ford Jr. on his 90th birthday. From Council Member McCoy, she would like to recognize Alethea Smith Tucker. From Council Member Owens, he would like to recognize the Sickle Cell Association of Delaware on World Sickle Cell Day. That's also from all of Council. And from Council Member Darby, she would like to recognize Donald Thompson III for his Raw Story Drive groundbreaking ceremony. And I would like to recognize Apostle Linda D. Henry on her 75th birthday. In the way of sympathy resolutions, coming from Councilwoman Harlee, a sympathy resolution for Sean Lemoine. And from Councilmember Oliver, a sympathy resolution for Barbara Hicks. And from Councilmember Owens, a sympathy resolution for Rosetta May Dennis. At this time, we will go to public comment. And if this is correct, we don't have anyone in person that would like to give public comment, but we do have 2 virtual public commenters. So we're going to start with Janine Campbell.
Are you in person?
Oh, she's here.
Yeah, she's in person.
Yes, Ms. Campbell is here. Thank you for joining us. You have 3 minutes. Ms. Campbell, you have 3 minutes, and once you have about 30 seconds left, I'll give you a friendly reminder. Please watch your step, and please introduce yourself.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Janine Campbell, and I was a candidate for the Christina School Board on May 13, 2025 election. That day was supposed to be a day of civic engagement, a day when every voice had a chance to be heard. But instead, something happened that I would never forget. On May 13th, around 1:14 p.m., the Christina School Board members were notified that there was a bomb threat that was called into Maurice Pritchett Academy, one of the designated polling sites. The building was evacuated, K-9 units searched the premises, and the board members received notice at 4:15 p.m. The building was declared clear. I later learned from the constable on duty that he personally walked the poll workers out and sent them to another site, the Powell building. For 1 to 2 hours, voting at Pritchett was shut down. I didn't learn about this bomb threat until 2 days after the election. Not from election officials, not from the school district, but from someone who simply cared enough to check on me. During that time, I was out canvassing in the area, encouraging voters to walk to Pritchett to cast their ballots, completely unaware that the doors were closed, the site was shut down, and democracy for a time was paused. When I spoke to the state election commissioner and asked why polling hours weren't extended, I was told there were 12 sites and that turnout is typically low in Wilmington, but let's be honest. Pritchett serves a community that already faces barriers like transportation and economic hardship. The other sites, Pulaski Early Learning Center, which is across town, one in Bear, and the rest, all 9 of them, were in Newark. This wasn't just a disruption, it was a silencing. Whoever made that call, you put our children, our educators, our community in harm's way for what? To scare, to suppress, to disrupt a free and fair election. This city is a city where Black and brown voices have long fought to be heard. It's been only 60 years since the Voting Rights Act of 1965 outlawed racial discrimination in voting, and yet here we are. What happened on May 13th was an injustice. It was voter suppression, plain and simple, and we must not stay silent. I'm deeply relieved that the threat wasn't real, but I am disgusted by the lack of transparency from both the Office of the State Election and the Christina School District. As a candidate, both myself and my opponent should have been notified immediately when polling sites were shut down. Voting hours should have been extended to make up for lost time. And if this had happened in Newark, I truly believe the response would have looked very different. This is not just about one election. This is about the trust we place in our institutions to ensure every vote counts, especially in communities that have historically been pushed aside. I am asking for your support, not just for myself, but for the integrity of our elections and the voting rights of every person in the city of Wilmington. We need clear, transparent policies. When a polling site is closed for any reason, candidates must be informed and the time lost must be made up. Because democracy only works when it works for all of us. So I ask, let's stand together to ensure that this never happens again. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Stacy Perry, who is also in council chambers. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, and please remember to introduce yourself. You have 3 minutes. Once you have 30 seconds left, I will give you a friendly reminder.
Good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here. I am here to just show my support to, my name is Stacy Perry. I'm so sorry, I apologize for that. But my name is Stacy Perry, and I'm here in support of the information that Ms. Campbell just shared with you all. I am an educator who is passionate about educating children as well as how our education is run. School boards are very important and viable in our communities. As we were out campaigning for Ms. Campbell to be able to be a part of the school board so that we as a people could have a voice for our children, we found out a few days later that this situation took place. I am voicing my support on behalf of her for this election for the 2025 school board position. It is important that we communicate that it is communicated for all schools in the Wilmington district locations, that no decision should be made on the point of the number of people who come out to place a vote in a location. We all should be able to have the right to vote at any given point in time, and that time that was taken away from individuals who may have come out, wanted to come out, but were turned away due to this situation of the bomb threat or the bomb scare where they had to close down the sites. So it is important that we address these situations on a whole as a community for our children, because we shouldn't find out after the fact that they were in such a situation or a predicament. I'm very passionate about children. I've been teaching over 30 years. I come from New York, and I have taught in several different components or areas. So it's very important to me that we pay attention to what is being introduced, placed before our children's safety, which is the #1 priority when it comes to voters' rights, being able to have a voice in this particular, in Wilmington's community, on behalf of our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That does conclude public comment. We want to thank everyone who did participate, and we want to continue to encourage the community to come in and share your thoughts and concerns with us. At this time, we will move to legislative business. Councilmember Bracy.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present on your behalf and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance number 25-014, agenda number 0036, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to establish an Office of Educational Advocacy as a division in City Council.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for the yea or nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second, that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance, and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Mr. President, as this is your ordinance, I defer to you for comment.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Bracy. Again, I want to thank all of my colleagues who have been supportive in this effort for us to have a voice in the way our children in the Wilmington community are educated and advocated for. Again, this was an ask from the state legislators who wanted us to have a stronger voice and be at the table when it comes to championing for our children and for their families. So we wanted to establish this office. We have a director, Dr. O, and I'm just looking forward to her and all of us, and especially the community, just doing a fantastic job and really trying to not only advocate, but just change the way our children are treated and their families are treated and the way that they're educated, and helping parents and communities to understand the importance of being involved with with our children's education. Councilmember Cabrera.
Yes, Mr. President, I think that we're spot on in the fact that many times we don't have a voice when it comes to the education of our children, since that falls under the purview of the state, but that we definitely should be more active with organizations like the Wilmington Learning Collaborative, the Reading Consortium, which I'm happy to be a member of, working together and making sure that City Council and the city residents have a voice in what is going on with our children's education is important. So hopefully this office will be a way for us to channel that information and be proactive. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Bracy.
Thanks, Mr. President. I just want to add to the commentary and say that we look forward to being at the table and advocating on behalf of the city's kids. But we also look forward to taking action and identifying ways, and I know that's something that all of the members of the Education, Youth, and Families Committee is very passionate about, taking action and finding ways to really solve for some of the problems that the city can control around our kids, you know, working closer with Parks and Rec, looking at the after-school programs and partnering with our community centers so that the pieces of this that we do control, we are doing a better job of serving our youth and our families. So look forward to us continuing having a focus, a laser focus on serving the youth of this city. Thanks.
And seeing no other hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman Owens,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harlee,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Hackett,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
9 yeas and 4 absent.
Declared adopted. Councilmember Owens.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 25-036, agenda number 0070, whereas House Bill 182, HB 182, an act to amend Title 11 of the Delaware Code relating to law enforcement agency agreements
I move
prohibits...
this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea-nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Thank you, Mr. President. If anyone has turned on the news lately, they have seen what our current federal administration is doing when it comes to immigration. They are literally kidnapping individuals off the street. They are arresting U.S. senators. They're arresting elected officials, U.S. citizens. And we have heard about 287G agreements in the past. Representative Mark Gorman put forth a bill that will prohibit agencies of entering these type of agreements with the federal immigration under Department of Homeland Security, or ICE for short. It is co-sponsored by Representative Ortega, Senator Lockman, Senator Pickney, Representative Trococha, and others, Senator Cruz as well, too, that all represent the city of Wilmington. This is a resolution simply supporting and calling for the passage of HB 182. Again, if there's any questions, I can answer those.
Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I guess my only question is basically when you spoke of agencies, is Chief Campos and our mayor the final say when it comes to entering in any type of agreement when it comes to these federal law enforcement agencies?
So currently, as of right now, yes, it would be them. But since this is a state bill, this is going to prohibit all agencies. So Wilmington, Newcastle County Police, State Police, Bureau of Delaware River and Bay Authority, all those different agencies would be prohibited from entering 287G agreements or any federal agreement like that.
Councilmember Johnson.
This is for the sponsor. I know we had some chatter about HB 93 as well, which is the prohibition on ICE entering, I believe it's churches right now, government buildings, and I was making even a move to add nonprofits and social service agencies, so that way the LACC and other organizations will be protected. So is this going to be in conjunction with that? Like these are going to go all to the finish line this June 30th?
So I don't know about the other bill just yet. I know that they are making a really big push for this. The governor's administration is making a push as well too. I agree with you about the other. I know me and you have talked back and forth about it, but I don't know exactly where that is in its process right now.
And I would like to be added as a co-sponsor, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Cabrera.
Yes. First, I have a question, then a comment, and I would like to be added as a co-sponsor. Will the small local police departments also be included under this? Would it be statewide law enforcement, or is it just specific counties or entities?
It's all police forces of any incorporated municipality, city or town, and then of course university, UD Police, Delaware State Police, Newcastle County Police, Wilmington Police, State Police, probation and parole, children or Department of Services of Children, Youth, and their families. Sorry, that was a mouthful. State Fire Marshals, Department of Justice, and State Police Drug Division Unit as well, too.
Okay, thank you. And then I believe that one of the requests that was made of myself was to also send letters down to the sponsors in addition to the resolution, which of course is helpful. So I would also urge council members if you could sign off on a letter. I was given a template and I did send my letter in, but hopefully collaboratively they will listen to us and we'll urge them to pass this. Thank you.
Seeing no hands raised, go back to the sponsor.
That's it.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Owens?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harlee?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Hackett?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
9 yeas and 4 absent.
Declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance number 25-033, agenda number 0075. An ordinance to amend Chapter 8 of the City Code to create an education workforce down payment and settlement assistance program.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 8 of the City Code to create an education workforce down payment and settlement assistance program.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Health, Environmental, Aging, and Disabilities Committee.
Second.
Excuse me. While we say on it, I have a question for the sponsor.
It's just first and second.
This is first and second.
Okay,
We're not discussing
I'll
that.
wait to committee, I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, the question is, I'm sorry, no, I do have a question, Mr. President. Why would we be sending it to the health when it's a housing? That's, I
It's the
guess.
sponsors'
Okay, that don't make sense, but go ahead.
choice. I'm sorry, where were we?
Second reading.
72.
Second reading of the ordinance.
We're done.
Okay. It's been properly moved and second, that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Health, Environmental, Aging, and Disabilities Committee. I'd like to recognize Councilmember Darby, who is with us virtually. Councilmember Owens.
Mr. President, I would like to hold agenda item 0072.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Darby.
I have an ordinance to present for the third and final reading. Or a resolution. Sorry.
One second. Resolution 25-037, agenda number 0073, whereas community response teams or civilian crisis response teams are partnerships that pair non-uniform professionals such as mental health specialists with peer counselors and trained civilians to provide direct services to individuals experiencing emotional, psychiatric, or substance abuse related crises. And whereas the objectives of community response teams are to link individuals in mental or emotional distress with the assistance that is appropriate to their needs, divert the resource demands of responding to mental health calls from law enforcement officers to trained professionals, ensure that individuals experiencing mental or emotional health crises receive consistent, culturally competent responses when they need them most. The isolation, reduced access to care, and other traumas experienced during the COVID-19 pandemic have further augmented the number of individuals at risk of having a severe mental or emotional crisis. However, healthcare utilization for non-COVID care remains below pre-pandemic levels, and whereas in 2021, the National Institute of Mental Health estimated that 57.8 million adults, or 1 in 5 Americans aged 18 or over, live with some type of mental illness. Approximately 14.1 million American adults, or 5.5%, struggle with severe mental illness. 16.9% You can make the motion, or I can keep reading. It's up to you.
You don't hear me?
No.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now. Did you want the entire resolution read, or do you want to make a motion?
I'm making a motion. I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second, the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea or nay vote on the question.
Yeah, so this piece of legislation, this is actually the second time that it's being presented to City Council. The first time was in my first term. It actually was a resolution that passed. This is about establishing a formal community response team. So last year when we presented it, at the time we had pretty much no services happening. Since then, with the community response team, I know that the police department they do participate or partner with Christiana Care for Partners in Care. So they do partner with one social worker or maybe two now. I think they hired a few more. But they do respond with social workers for certain calls that are happening. And then City Council also established CPSI, who also offers some basic services to the community. So we know we have those two things operating, but those are not community response teams in no shape or form or way. A community response team is a entity that does not fall under a police department. Most of the calls that they respond to are not with police officers. They respond to calls that for unhoused people. So if you're a business owner and there is probably someone sleeping outside on your sidewalk and that's not a crime, we can have someone from our community response team funded by the city partially funded by the city because you can also get grants and other funding different ways to fund a community response team. But you'll be able to have someone respond to that call where there's not a police officer, someone who specializes in working with unhoused people, someone who
Mr.
actually.
President, point of order.
Yes, may I have your point of order?
Yes, the point of order is that this is straying a bit from what the actual resolution is about. This is basically about just retrieving data for those calls so that that information coming from Wilmington Police Department can go to LEAP so that they can actually filter through that data. And then whatever those next stages were, I guess, are something that can be discussed by the administration.
Councilmember Darby, did you want to respond?
Yeah, people need to understand what a community response team is. So I'm explaining what a community response team is. And I know I got to keep explaining to you guys what it is. So then I can explain that we need to collect the data because y'all seem not to understand every time it gets explained.
All right, thank you. You may continue.
Yes, like I was saying, a community response team will then respond to calls like that because as I keep explaining to council and the community, that's what a community response team does. We don't currently have one. LEAP is a organization I've been engaged with for the last 3 years at this point, looking for them to come to the city to do a data analysis on our 911 call and help us establish a community response team. So a community response team that will respond to some of the examples that I gave earlier when I was explaining it for the council. So in that, this piece of legislation, there's not a fiscal, there's no fiscal component to it. LEAP is willing to come to the city at no or a very low cost to be able to do this data analysis. I already had meetings with the administration about it. I already re-engaged LEAP. I also invited council people to be a part of the meeting with LEAP. And I also had LEAP come and present to city council already. So I have given all the information to city council about LEAP and about them coming to establish a community response team, starting with our data.
All right, thank you. Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman Owens,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harlee,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
No.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Hackett,
Yes.
Council President Congo.
Yes.
9 yeas, 1 nay, and 3 absent.
Declared adopted. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, Mr. President. I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance number 25-023, agenda number 0050, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to supplement the city's organizational chart.
Mr. President, I'd like to move this be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second, that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance, and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President. The first time this hit the floor, I didn't understand how this was so hard of a piece of legislation. Our Kendra, who does our research, she had attached the pictures on it with the legislation should have been, how it should have been drawn up. I don't see anything wrong with I don't know what's so hard about. It's just, it's not, it wouldn't be all of Public Works. It would be the head people, some of the managers, everything that's in here. Other states do it when it went to National League of Cities. You see people's picture and color. So individuals who come in don't have to think they just need to talk to maybe Kelly Williams or Vince. It's other people in their department. So if they see the face when you come in, at least you could put a face with a name. When you're coming in to become a council person, you walk right past the people and you don't even know they're in management. So it's just about really an organization chart so people can know who you're talking to on the phone and who you're speaking to in the building. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman Owens,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harlee? Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Hackett?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
10 yeas and 3 absent.
Declared adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have an ordinance present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance number 25-029, agenda number 0060, an ordinance to authorize and approve the First Amendment to Contract 23002 WD Boiler Inspection and Maintenance Services between the City of Wilmington and AA Duckett, Inc.
Mr. President, I move this be known as an enacting clause to the ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second, that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance, and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this is an ordinance that's been presented by City Council for council's review, approval of the ordinance that is for authorizes the approval of the First Amendment contract 2002 WD Boiler Inspection and Maintenance Service between the City of Wilmington and AA Duckett, Inc.
All right, seeing no hands
1
raised.
year, it's a 1 year contract, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Seeing no hands raised. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman Owens?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harlee?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Hackett?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
10 yeas and 3 absent.
Declared adopted.
Yes, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance number 25-034, agenda number 0074, an ordinance to amend Chapter 36 of the City Code to prohibit resisting, impeding, or interfering with the city employees' official job duties.
Mr. President.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 36 of the City Code to prohibit resisting, impeding, or interfering with a city employee's official job duties.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move this be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Public Safety Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second, that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance, and referred to the Public Safety Committee.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance present and call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance number 25-035, agenda number 0075, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to require City Council approval of appointed board members of the Wilmington Neighborhood Conservancy Land Bank Corporation.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to require City Council approval of appointed board members of the Wilmington Neighborhood Conservancy Land Bank Corporation.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move this be known for the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second, that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance, and referred to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
Mr. President, may I be excused,
Yes,
please?
you may be excused.
Thank you so much.
Councilmember Darby, you may also be excused. Councilmember Harlee.
Yes, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 25-021, agenda number 0048, an ordinance to authorize and approve an agreement for third-party claim administrative services between the City of Wilmington and PMA Management Corporation.
Mr. President, I move that it be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for the yea and nay vote.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and second, that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance, and called for a yea or or nay vote on the question?
Yes, Mr. President, this ordinance authorizes the city to execute an agreement with PMA Management Corporation for a third-party claim administrative services for the period of 1 year from July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, with the option of 3 one-year extensions. The fiscal impact of this ordinance is a total estimated price of $248,500 for the first year of the agreement, and then $261,000 for the second year of the agreement if the first extension option is exercised, and then $274,050 for the third year of the agreement if the second extension option is exercised, and then $287,750 for the fourth year of the agreement if the third extension option is exercised. And this is an agreement that is between the City of Wilmington and PMA Management that deals with our Human Resources Department.
And seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman Owens?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harlee?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Hackett?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
8 yeas and 5 absent.
Declare adopted.
Mr. President, I have another ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 25-022, Agenda 0049, an ordinance to amend Chapters 4, 5, 13, 34, and 44 of the City Code to standardize the procedure for the application of partial payments of fees, civil fines, civil penalties, and taxes due and owing to the city.
Mr. President, I have a substitute to present in lieu of that ordinance.
Substitute number 1 to ordinance number 25-022, revision 1 to agenda number 0049. An ordinance to amend chapters 3, 4, 5, 13, 34, 44, and 45 of the City Code to standardize the procedure for the application of payments of fees, civil fines, civil penalties, and taxes due and owing to the city.
Mr. President, I move that it be known as the enacting clause of the substitute ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second, that be known as the enacting clause of the substitute ordinance, and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, the substitute ordinance amends 3, 4, 5, 13, 34, 44, and 45 of the City Code to standardize the procedure for the application of payments made by customers for unpaid fees, civil fines, civil penalties, and taxes that are due and owing to the city. And in addition, as a housekeeping matter, this ordinance also will be correcting typographical errors located in our city code sections 44-115 and 45-17. And it also adds clarifying language to the titles of various sections and subsections of the city code, and there is no anticipated negative fiscal impact of this ordinance.
Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like, I actually went to this meeting, and this is actually a great piece of legislation. It seems to me that they want to make certain that any payments that are being made are actually being applied to the principal and not so much of the whatever type of fee or whatever that is actually accruing. We want to make certain we're getting the principles down. And I guess this is the start of it, and I just would like to be added as a co-sponsor.
All right, thank you. Seeing no other hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman Owens?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby? Oh, sorry. Councilwoman Harlee?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Hackett?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
8 yeas and 5 absent.
Declared adopted.
That's all I
Councilmember.
have, Mr. President.
I'm sorry.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember McCoy?
Yes, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance number 25-030, agenda number 0062. An ordinance to authorize and approve a lease agreement regarding 400 North Walnut Street between the City of Wilmington and the Wilmington Housing Authority.
I move that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, so this ordinance authorizes the city to execute a lease agreement with the Wilmington Housing Authority to lease the 400 North Walnut Street for the Wilmington Police Department to use for office space for a period of 5 years commencing on July 1st, 2025. The fiscal impact, this fiscal impact is a total estimated price of $150,000 for the first year with a 2% increase for each year thereafter. The police department has budgeted sufficient funds in its fiscal year 2026 operating budget for the first year of this lease agreement.
Can I just get some clarity? Because it says the WHA, then it also mentions the police department. I'm just confused.
Okay. So to give you more clarity, what it is that Wilmington Housing Authority will be moving from their location on 4th and King, I guess that is? 4th and Walnut, I'm sorry. So they will be moving from that location to 11th Street, I believe, at Owens. So they will not be doing anything with that building for the next 5 years. So the police department felt it will be wise for them to be able to utilize that building instead of doing their training and everything else elsewhere in renting space. They're just going to use across the street, and it gives them additional parking as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. See no other hands raised. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman Owens?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harlee?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Hackett?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
8 yeas and 5 absent.
Declared adopted.
Okay. I do have another ordinance to present and call for a third and final reading.
Ordinance number 25-031, agenda number 0063, an ordinance to authorize and approve an agreement between the City of Wilmington and Axon Enterprises, Inc. for body cameras, tasers, and related services.
Okay. Mr. President, I move that this be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea or nay vote.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second this be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
This ordinance authorizes the city to execute an agreement with Axon Enterprise, Inc. to purchase body cameras, tasers, and related services for the Wilmington Police Department for a period of 5 years commencing on July 1st, 2025. Now, the fiscal impact for this ordinance is a total estimate price of $7,133,355.93, payment of which will be divided over the term of an agreement. The police department has budgeted sufficient funds in its fiscal year 2026 operating budget, and for the first year, the agreement will budget sufficient funds in the subsequent 4 fiscal years for the remainder of the agreement. So the reason this does have a larger price tag, but the reason why this is actually necessary is because we seem to have different programming for all different types of things. We want to make certain that all of our devices and the things that we're purchasing are all coming from the same place. And so by actually ending one agreement a little early and then jumping on this agreement is actually going to be saving us money in the long run. It is a larger price tag, but I'm sorry, I did forget to write down how much it will be saving us, but it will be giving us some substantial saving within the 5-year period.
Councilmember Johnson.
Would like to be added as a co-sponsor. This is something that, especially body cameras, we first passed back in the 107, and it's nice to see us engage with this vendor again. $7 million again seems like a lot, but when you add up the cost of litigation and lawsuits is a lot more than that. So we possibly prevent a lot of the bad behavior by having the body cameras on the force. So I definitely am supportive of this, and I'm glad we're continuing to work with Axon going forward.
Councilmember Owens.
Yes, this is for the sponsor. The $7 million over 5 years, that's a huge price tag. Currently, our officers are all equipped with body-worn cameras already. Is the bulk of that $7 million going to cloud space for storage for that data?
Yes, so the $7 million is definitely going to our storage. Every officer does have a body-worn camera. We do have to, I guess you want to say, like, kind of like lease that, provide a lease annually for what we're getting from Axion, and so this goes towards that. But not just the body cameras. The other things that I've actually named are actually part of Axion as well. And so by making certain that all of the different devices that we have are all on the same program and they are cooperating basically with one another, makes things a lot easier for us.
All right, thank you. Seeing no other hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman Owens,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harlee,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Hackett,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes,
8 yeas and 5 absent.
declared adopted. Councilmember Johnson.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 25-038, agenda number 0065. Whereas Section 2-369 of the City Code requires grants awarded by the mayor, city council, or the city
I move
treasurer.
that this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea vote.
Okay.
It's been properly moved and second. The resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea and nay vote on the question.
This is a resolution approving the end of the year fiscal funds. There's been outreach by a Westside community group that they're looking to have additional events. Unfortunately, they've already reached their $5,000 threshold. So by per council rules, it must go to the full council for a vote. And it's good that community organizations are spending the money. One consideration, though, is the $5,000 threshold was back when our community discretionary funds, dating back to 107, were only $15,000. So, you know, this is for future talk, but we may want to consider adjusting that just to make it a little easier on our side, that these don't always have to go to full council. So that's a housekeeping matter that we can address later.
All right, seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman Owens,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harlee,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Hackett,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes,
8 yeas, 5 absent.
declared adopted.
All right, Mr. President, I have an ordinance and present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 25-032, agenda number 0066, an ordinance to amend Chapter 40 of the City Code regarding military leave.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause in the ordinance and call for a yea, nay vote.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. That be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
This is presented on behalf of the administration and HR and the police department. Essentially, it's a housekeeping matter. There are federal guidelines dealing with military leave. They have changed recently. So it used to be uncapped, essentially for city organizations. Now it's just cleaning up the language that the cumulative service for military leave shall not exceed 5 years in total lifespan of an employee. So that's in line with federal law, making us compliant. There's no fiscal impact in this.
Councilmember Cabrera, followed by Councilmember Owens.
Okay, so, I mean, I'm glad to hear this because one of the challenges that I understand when, let's say as an example, the police department says that they're shorthanded bodies, but they can't hire more people because technically they don't have physical police officers here because they're station away. And I know that was an issue that the police chief back then, maybe my first term, was trying to explain where the numbers were coming from when they kept saying they didn't have enough officer or boots on the ground. So this would cap it at 5 years. That's what I'm to understand. So we don't have these positions open forever and ever until they retire.
May I, Mr. President?
Yes, Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, it does clarify for 5 years is the maximum or the life of employment.
Okay, great. This is very good. Thank you.
This is for the sponsor. So this would only apply for anyone who's not covered under the collective bargaining unit, which would be the vast majority of the officers, correct?
Correct, yeah. So it applies to those who aren't covered. The CBA calls for a different kind of leave time. So this is for the officers who are not, or the employees who are not covered by that, correct?
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no other hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman Owens,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harlee,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Hackett,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
8 yeas, 5 absent.
Declared adopted. Councilmember Bracy.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 25-039, agenda number 0076, whereas pursuant to section 2-363 of the City Code, City Council deemed it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals.
Move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
Mr. President, this resolution authorizes the Department of Parks and Rec grant application to the State of Delaware Department of Labor in the amount of $190,000. The proposed grant funds would be used to support their summer youth internship program, and there's no local matching funds required for this.
Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you. I just would like to be added as a co-sponsor.
All right. Seeing no other hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman Owens,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harlee,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Hackett,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
8 yeas and 5 absent.
Declared adopted. At this time, we will move to petitions and communications. Councilmember Owens.
Yes, first off, I want to start by saying happy Juneteenth to everyone. Hopefully you will be celebrating tomorrow, especially with our world in the current state it's in. Outside of that, again, I just want to remind everyone to stay safe, stay vigilant. There's 2 people missing from the 1st District, including a 14-year-old young girl, Alethea. So again, just keep an eye out. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Councilmember Harlee.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I also want to say happy Juneteenth to everyone, and there's a plethora of events taking place on tomorrow. Of course, right downtown, we have our Clifford Brown Jazz Festival, and there are a number of venues that are going to be doing after hours entertainment as well. So please just check it out and just, come out and let's enjoy ourselves on tomorrow evening. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say congratulations one more time to a friend of mine, Alethea Smith-Tucker, for completing 5 years of the Christina School Board. I know it was tough. I know that it was definitely a strain, but she did what she needed to do. I'm just so glad that she's made it through to the other side because some people were unable to. Also, what else I wanted to make sure that I remember? I stated. I think that might be it. I can't even think of what else I was about to state.
All right. Thank you. Councilman Johnson.
This time, just wanted to make the announcement if those who haven't seen the city's water department website that there's been obviously kind of some comments around the city about the water. Quality testing has been done by the Public Works Water Department. It is safe drinking water. The rest of the contents is safe.
Okay.
There is a smell created by algae. I've been kind of tracking this down all week. I've even had testing at my house before for previous water issues. So again, if you're in doubt, please contact one of us and we can get to the bottom of it. But the water is safe to drink. Public Works says they expect it to hopefully be rectified but by the weekend. Thank you, and be safe.
Thank you, Councilwoman Bracy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to echo everyone's sentiments around Juneteenth and make sure that you remember the purpose of what we're commemorating. Also, there's an event at the Art Museum beyond Juneteenth. It's a great event if you don't have anything to do tomorrow. Additionally, the weather has gotten hot quickly. So if you have seniors in your neighborhoods, please make sure you check on them, make sure they have fans, working air conditioning, and that they're okay. And then lastly, I wanted to congratulate Councilman Hackett. He just recently launched a new community-based nonprofit, and he's doing some great work in the community, and I just wanted to congratulate him.
Councilwoman Cabrera.
Thank you. Again, echoing the importance of Juneteenth to really educate people and help them understand what it means historically and why we're celebrating this. So sometimes so many people say, what is it? What is it? So each of us and the public out there, learn. If you have questions, ask, and please share, because we cannot have forgotten history. We must continue to keep it alive, and that's what Juneteenth does. So we are celebrating, and the city will be closed tomorrow, as it is now an official holiday. Plethora of events going on. The Jazz Festival has already been mentioned, but also reminder that the Urban Artist Exchange has the concerts on Wednesday evenings, the farmers market in the downtown area at Rodney Square, food trucks, and lots of great produce that you can buy right here, having accessibility in the city. You have the next open streets are going to be held. I have a flyer here with that information. Was just at a community meeting last night in Cool Springs, sharing a lot of the things that are going on in our city. So the next Open Streets on 4th Street would be held on Saturday, June 28th from 1 to 4 p.m. between Broome Street and Lincoln Street. So we hope that families, neighbors, people come out and really enjoy this great event. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Hackett.
Yeah, I'll be short. I want to thank Councilwoman Bracy. I almost forgot, we wear so many different hats these days. And, my family, we started a nonprofit called Community Cares of Delaware, and we've been trying to service the community with different projects. We started a new project called the Foundation Project, and it's going to be able to assist first-time home buyers, first-time apartment, if you get any housing assistance from the state of Delaware. And if you're a senior over 65, you can come to the Wilmington Library. We're on the second floor on Tuesday and Thursday from 5 to 7. And then this Saturday, we're actually launching and opening from 9 to 1 during the Jazz Festival. You could come in, we get 30 points a month, and you can get all free essentials for your house. We partner with different organizations that donate furniture, I would say bedding, couches, and we can continue to go on. But, I tell all the residents, if you qualify, please come out so that we can make sure that we're building a foundation in your house.
All right, congratulations, job well done. Is there a contact number?
Just contact me,
All right.
Well, I tell everybody, our email is admin@communitycaresdelaware.com. But you can find us on Instagram, Foundation Project, and also you can follow me and reach out to me so we can make it happen, make sure that you're eligible for the program. But we're getting ready to go to all our senior residents, try to make sure that the Saturdays that we do have, partner up with WHA and figure out how we can get them there to the Wilmington Library, because we have laundry detergent, we have soaps, we have everything possible to help our families be able to build their foundation. So,
all right, thank you. I'd just like to thank everyone who joined us this evening. If you ever need any assistance from any of us on council, please call us at 302-576-2140. Again, our number is 302-576-2140. We welcome you to all of our council meetings, which are every first and third Thursdays, and we also have committee meetings throughout the month. To get those, the schedule for those, you just give us a call at the office. And as most people have already mentioned, happy Juneteenth to everyone. And with that, I will accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.